This is Predator Hunting Radio. This is episode number 8. My name is Tony Abreu and I'm your host. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about base magnification on scopes. We're going to also get into my State of the Union, and then we're going to wrap up this episode. So let's go ahead and get into this. So this episode, base magnification. What do I mean by that? Well, basically in the night vision and thermal scopes and everything you have, everyone comes with a base magnification. And when I say base magnification, that is generally the power that the magnification starts at when you buy it. So the first scope I ever owned was an ATTN X-Sight 2, and it was a 5 power, I think 5x20 if I'm not mistaken, but it was 5 power and 5 power, 5 times magnification. That was the base magnification of it. So the second scope, after I got rid of that one, I got the ATTN X-Sight 4K, and that one had a 5x20 as well. So the base magnification started at 5 power. Okay, generally in the night vision sector, and I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about generation 1, 2, or 3. I'm talking about digital night vision and the scopes that I have experience with. I don't have experience with the generation 1, 2, or 3. But in the digital space, basically all the scopes really started out at like 4 and 5 power. There was one scope that was out a while back, and it started at it was a 1 power, and it was the Accufire Noctis, I believe. And that scope was right around $1,000. I think they still make that, but they also have a newer version that just came out. I don't know a lot about it, but I have done a little research on it and seen it. And it's actually, the first one that came out was actually had a camera and then a monitor in the back, but it was a 1 power, which gives you a super wide field of view. As you can imagine, a 5 power scope, I mean, the problem that I had with it, with a 5 power scope, is that, like where I'm at right this second, this field, it's probably 300-400 yards across, and that's fine with a 5 power scope. But there were other places that I would hunt where there were like a small gap, and then there was like a feeder, and it was 40 yards. And if a pig or something got there and like you could see him, yeah, it was really close and really, magnified. But if he took off running, it'd be really hard to find him in the screen, especially with night vision. Thermal might be a little different, but night vision is really hard. So I started really getting into the point to where, okay, yeah, the 5 power is good. And there were scenarios where I would use it, but then when I'd get in close scenarios, like it was really hard. So in where I am in Florida, I would much rather have a lower base magnification in the stuff that I do and be able to magnify a little bit than to be over magnified and have to actually, because you can't back the magnification down. So we got the X-Sights, the ATTN X-Sights. They either came in like a 3 power, like 3x12 or 3x, I don't know the upper part of that, but it was either a 3 power base magnification or a 5 power base magnification. And then Sightmark came out with their Wraith, which was, Sightmark had a bunch of scopes out before that called the Photons, and those were like super high magnified too. I think the lowest power you could get was like a 5 or a 6 on those. So I never owned any of those, and I'm not sure. I think those were digital, yes, but they didn't do daytime or something, or maybe if they did do daytime, they just stayed black and white, to where the ATTNs and the Sightmark Wraiths, those actually go into full color during the day mode. So Sightmark, though, eventually came out with the Wraith, which the first one that they had was a 4x32 HD, and it was a 4 power base magnification, and it as well was really hard for me to use. It was almost like it was a 4.5 to 5 power, even though they were calling it a 4, and it was just really hard to use in close-in scenarios. And then I guess they started listening to their market, and basically they came out with a new scope, basically in the same housing but with a smaller lens, and it was a 2X, or the Sightmark 2 Wraith 2, which was a 2-power base magnification. So right now I have both of those scopes. I'm going to be doing some videos on those as well in the future, doing a comparison video. And also, just to let you know as well, I have a whole nother channel on YouTube is where I started out at. It's called Perceptive Outdoors. And I also am going to be doing an unboxing on the new X-Sight LTV 3x9 scope as well. So I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, so I bought the 2X on the Sightmark Wraith because it, you know, it gives me a wider field of view and it's going to be better. And I'm looking forward to doing the video on that. But then I also got the LTV, the X-Sight LTV, because I want to see the 3-power and what it looks like. And also that one's supposed to be really good at illuminating at night. So that's exciting. Now that's just night vision. And there are other companies out there that make night vision and they are definitely usable. I just don't really deal in those. And also, in case you're wondering, a lot of people ask me, you know, hey, this $100 Chinese thing with the camera and the thing and the actual monitor that mounts on a regular scope, if those are any good. I don't really personally know. I've never owned one of those. I actually may have looked through one time. And they're okay, probably up to 100 yards or maybe 80 yards. I don't know. But I don't have a lot of experience with that. So I'm just talking from experience. So once you get into the thermal, though, now, thermal is a whole different realm because, yes, they have magnification. And base magnification is the same thing. Your thermals are going to come with a base magnification. And then they're going to actually, you're going to be able to zoom in. And when you talk about zooming in on the night vision, they do zoom and you do lose clarity when you zoom, but really the more light you have, the better your zoom is going to be. And that's an important point to know as well, because whenever I had the X-Sight 4K 5x20, I had a Coyote Reaper XXL on that thing, and I could zoom my beam all the way out into a spot, which would go like 500, 600, 700, 800 yards. But I could take that thing, and as long as it wasn't foggy outside, I could zoom in my ATTN all the way up to 20 power, and I could still make out what was going on. Now, not all the time, depending on the conditions, but most of the time I could still make out what was going on, which is really cool. So on night vision, the more light you have, the better your zoom is going to be at night. But on the thermals, whole different ballgame, because you got your base magnification. A lot of your lower base magnification is going to be on the lower end of your price range. A lot of them start out at 1 power. Even you have monoculars that start out at 1 power. A lot of the thermals and different, you know, there's Pulsar, there's AGM, then you got your higher ones, your Halos, your Trigicons. Well, the lower price range, you know, generally are going to be a lower base magnification. Generally, not always, but generally, they're going to have your lower cores in them as well. But the thing to know is that, you know, like let's just say a 1.2 power base magnification is going to be great for close-in shots. But you're not going to be able to shoot 400 yards with it because you have such a wide field of view and it's good for close shots. So you really want to know, you know, if I were going to choose a scope base magnification, I would basically write down all my scenarios of where I was going to hunt at. And then wherever your most ones are going to be, that's probably where I would go with, you know, and just suck it up if the latter happened. So like I said, here in Florida, there's a lot of close shots. And a lot of times I would be out in the woods, up against woods, looking somewhere, and there'd be stuff popping out right on top of me and I could never see it because it was so close. So I like the lower base magnification. But with the lower base magnification, if you have a higher resolution scope, like a 640 core, then you could actually zoom one time. Every time you zoom on a thermal, you basically cut your resolution in half. So if you had a 1.5 power scope, right, and you zoomed to 3 power, which is you're basically double the zoom, well, your 640 is now going to be half of your resolution. So you're still going to be able to see decent, but if you have a 384 core and you zoom, when you zoom first, some of the scopes, you know, they get really pixelated really fast. And if you have even a lower core than that, like a 240 core, and you zoom, you're going to lose a lot of your clarity really quick. So knowing the right base magnification to start with, and having, you know, the best, knowing what your best scenarios are going to be produced, and knowing what's going to be best for you is probably the best thing to actually think about whenever you're purchasing one of these. So if I was in the plains in the Midwest, then yeah, a lot of those guys are, you know, wanting to use 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7 power scopes, you know, because they got long shots and they got long open fields and stuff. But to me, when you're in the woods and you're real deep in the woods, or you're in like woodsy stuff in close scenarios, you're going to want the widest field of view and the lowest base magnification power that's there that you can get. So that's pretty much all I have for that. If you want to know more about like base magnification, batteries, you know, different things about what to consider when buying your next scope, check out this, go to this link. It's you get a free PDF. It's called yournextnightscope.com. I created this PDF to help you save time, money, and aggravation when buying your next scope, whether it's your first one or your third one, it doesn't matter. You know, maybe there's something on there that you don't know yet that I've maybe done, or maybe I don't know everything. I don't know, but I definitely have some experience with that. And I definitely recommend you go in there and downloading your free PDF and getting that going. So let's get into the State of the Union. So I'll just recap. If you have not been here, or this is your first time even coming on this channel, I appreciate you watching. This is just something that I started. I'm on my 8th episode. It's something I started a while back. It's basically my journey as a predator hunter. So I've been hunting for a couple years now, off and on. Right now I'm trying to hunt 2 to 3 nights a week. Lately it's been more of 2 because I've been really busy. I have a full-time job. I'm also doing videos for one channel. I got this going on for another channel. I'm trying to buy stuff and, you know, like try to make comparison videos, because there's a lot of stuff out in the market, and I'm just trying to, you know, show you what's available and what's there, and even learn for myself. So, but what I did was I basically set out with a goal at the beginning of this year. Last year, you know, we really started killing pretty good, and I was able to harvest a lot of deer for farmers, and now I'm doing, you know, more in the coyotes. We've been kind of mixing that in. Now I'm starting to get into hogs, and basically I set a goal for myself to kill 100 predators in 2021. So right now I am not going very well on that goal. I kind of got a lot going on, and I'll just be the first to admit, but hey, a goal at least gets you going in a direction. And last week after I filmed my episode, I went in the same field right where I was. First I went to my buddy's house. We went to a field that was probably about 15-20 minutes away that we hadn't hunted for a while, a pretty big farmer's field, and it was just loaded with deer. There was no coyotes, period. The grass was kind of high though. Even if you look like in the background here, this is all oats. This is probably like 80, or I'm sorry, it might be 40 to 60 acres. I can't remember. I think maybe it's 40. And it's got oats, and they are probably like that tall. They're over a foot tall, and it would be hard to even see a coyote in this mess right here. But I know they're here because I was hunting deer here last year, and they were definitely here because I could hear them, and I actually seen a couple there. So, but we went to that field. It was really high. We couldn't even get a coyote to respond. We never saw any coyotes. I maybe saw something once or twice, but the grass was so high, it didn't do good. So then we went back to where I shot the video at, which is like basically 1,000 acres around that area. And me and him set out on the golf cart. So this is the golf cart here. It's just an easy go TXT 48 volt. It's an electric, obviously, with the TXT 48. It is lifted with tires, and one day I'll actually show more and maybe do a video on this. I have these racks right here on the side to put the full-blown tripod. We ride around this thing in total darkness at nighttime. Generally, I live near Gainesville, Florida, so generally the lights from the city kind of illuminate mostly, and even if it's total dark, I can still generally see for the most part. But yeah, we ride around. We use the thermals to locate, and we were out there. There's a lot of cows out in that area. And we went to a couple spots, didn't see anything, and then we ended up going into this one field where right where I was videoing at earlier. And we drove into that field, and we usually call right from where I was actually videoed the last episode, But this time, and there's a pit out there. And when I say a pit, there's a lot of sinkholes in this area, and we call them pits. And there's a pit out there, and I know there's a lot of, I honestly think there's a den out there. Because we've always seen a lot. We've actually killed a couple in that field. But we set out to shoot in a different spot this time. So we were going to the back to try to call them off another property. And we were going through the field in the darkness, and we bumped 2 of them and ended up getting one of them, and the other one got away. But so we ended up killing one last week. Didn't even have to call. Right now, as far as that goes, the pups are dropping. I'm seeing this all over the Facebook forums right now. It is the middle to end of May, and everybody's saying the pups are dropping. Now, I haven't personally seen pups yet, but I'm looking forward to dialing up all the Pup Distress on my call. I use an Icotech Outlaw, and basically trying to call these pups, because the pups are generally going to be not as smart as the older ones, and you're going to actually, number one, you can get, well, I say that the Pup Distress is generally going to pull off the parents, you know, the mama especially, have a good time pulling them off. I've never really hunted the Pup Distress, so I don't really know, but I'm just going by what I read. It's supposed to pull them off pretty good and at least expose them so you can maybe get a shot. But I know last year, whenever we were hunting around this, like in the summertime, we were killing a lot of, not necessarily pups, but we were killing juveniles because of the fact that they come running when you do it. They just don't know. They're not smart yet, you know, unless you shoot them and they run. But so we killed a lot, you know, in the summertime last year. And also another quick tip too, something that I'm noticing here, and people, you know, people that have been hunting for years maybe already know this, but like this oat field right here, if they were to come cut this oat field tomorrow, I would be in here hunting it the next 3-4 days, because it seems like whenever a field gets fresh cut, and that field that I did the video last week was fresh cut, it was rye, and they cut it, and it just seems like they love that, because number one, rats and stuff, it exposes all the rats. There's rabbits, and it just seems like when a field gets plowed or a field gets cut is a great time to go in right after that to actually go get more coyotes. And that's just something that I'm noticing. And, you know, that happened last weekend, and every time I notice that, I'm going to point it out. So, but that's pretty much it. Got one more to add to the belt there of the goal of 100. Not even sure where I'm at yet. I know I might be close to 10, but I'm not exactly sure. And I'm just going to keep pushing along. I know there's going to be spurts where you get 3, 4, 5. I mean, there was one night we went out last year and ended up killing like 4 coyotes and 2 hogs. That's the most I've ever done. You know, I do live in Florida. I know in Texas, people are shooting 20, 30 pigs. There is a guy here that shot 20 pigs, a couple guys that shot 20 pigs maybe a month and a half ago. I don't have that number of animals in my area. Maybe there are, but I haven't seen that many yet. So, and I'm not that good of a shot. So, I mean, I'm just going to be real with you here. You know, I miss. So that's pretty much where I'm at with the State of the Union. So Predator Hunting Radio, I've done a lot of videos with just my experience, and I am exactly working on getting some guests in here. And I believe once I get the guests, I'm just going to keep piling them on and then kind of mix it up a little bit. But that is my goal with that. Also, with my other channel, I'm going to keep doing stuff there as far as like, you know, new stuff and stuff out, and just sharing tips and tricks about stuff that I've learned and stuff that I'm using, which is cool. So don't forget to check that out, which is Perceptive Outdoors. And also, just to give you a little bit of stuff in the future, you know, on stuff that I want to do, and stuff that, like, where my mind and my vision is for this. Like I really am trying to build capital right now so that I can go into my next phase of my business. And so I have Perceptive Outdoor Gear, where I sell scopes, and I sell, you know, I'm basically selling battery packs right now for scopes, but I'm trying to build capital so that I can keep more scopes in stock, because that seems like the biggest problem is having the scopes in stock. But my next phase of that is I have another phase that I'm working on with that so I can build capital. And then my next phase, like one of my dream things to do, is, this is an easy-go cart, and it's 2-wheel drive, and I don't really have a lot of problems with it, but, my next thing is to actually work on this, and it goes like, this easy-go goes like 25 miles on a charge. I have never ran one out hunting the way that I hunt. Now, I'm not hunting, I am hunting 1,000-acre pieces sometimes, and I do ride it a lot, but I've never ran one out in one night. Not to say that it wouldn't happen if I was on a big piece, but as far as my vision goes, I want to build one of these from the ground up just for the hunting that I do. And in the process of that, I want to upgrade the batteries. I want to upgrade the motor. I actually want to upgrade the running gear. They make a 4-wheel drive kit for this. And, that's one of my goals. I want to actually raise the money and even document the journey on that as well. So I got a pretty good thing going here. I mean, as far as like the way my vision sees it, if you see something, or you want to see me do an episode here on the podcast, please feel free to drop a comment below. Somebody emailed me last week or a couple days ago about, thanking me about doing the videos that I'm doing here. And I appreciate that. I appreciate all the feedback. I'm not perfect, but I'm just trying to work on myself as well as do this and share my tips and stuff. And if you see something that, or maybe you want to know something, like I'm going to talk about, suppressors later on. I'm going to talk about obviously the rig and get more into that and what I'm doing with it. But if you see something that you want to, or know something that you want to hear about, please drop a comment below. If you like this video, please share it. Or if you like this whole like predator hunting radio, please share it. Please smash the like button, drop a thumbs up, because that helps it get out for the algorithm to help get it out there. And even subscribe if you wouldn't mind. And then what I'm going to do on here as well is I think I'm going to start, on my Perceptive Outdoor gear. I got shirts, like this is one of the shirts that I have. But what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to start giving away like a monthly, like a t-shirt or something, just to start getting some more stuff going and make it more fun. I'm just trying to be more fun, and I'm trying to, have fun, help other people have fun, and, just have fun doing it. And obviously in the process, we're going to learn a little bit. I'm always learning, and we're going to have fun and do it the best way we can, and maybe make a little money as well. So thanks for watching. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and that's pretty much it for episode 8. We will see you on the next episode.